Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today in Wayfinder we have the early access review. Wayfinder has now been out in early access for about 4 days, 3-4 days now. Right now, the time I am recording this is like end of day Sunday, is what I'm trying to say. So it's been out like a good chunk, right? Good chunk. And it's going very terribly. So Wayfinder as a game is kind of like an MMO light RPG action adventure type of game, right? Run around town, do quests, fight enemies, go into dungeons, fight bosses, craft weapons, craft different characters, Wayfinders, and they all of course have different ability sets and different like ups and downs, you know. Some are better at being tankier, some are better at being support, some are better at being range damage, some are better at being closer damage, right? You have a hero-based, class-based system in Wayfinder. I myself have only got my hands on a handful of Wayfinders so far because I'm just casually playing the game, and that leads us to the main point of the current early access, which is Waitfinder. So Waitfinder is what everyone's calling Wayfinder right now because it has had, sadly, one of the worst early access launches to date. We are now 4 days into it, and people still have to wait multiple hours to get into the game. The game is still going through widespread crashing, which kicks people out, and the login queue is like 20,000 people at any time, and I swear their servers maybe can hold max 5,000 people right now, so it's not going well, okay? Let's just say that. It's not going well. So the game itself, once you get in, it's a pretty fun game, but people are angry, right? When the game is maxing out on about, I think it hit 24,000 people on Steam, and it has a queue of like 22,000 people, that's not good. But it's because they also keep taking the servers down, putting them back up, taking them down, putting them back up, right? They make a change, they increase capacity. Oh no, floodgates, everything's broken, they take it down, it's down for a while, it goes back up. Hey, maybe some people get in, and then oh no, the queue's down again and no one else can get in, but oh, then it goes back up, right? And then it goes back down again. So that is currently the entire early access right now, and is why a lot of people are memeing the game, rightfully so, calling it Waitfinder, calling it Queue Finder. I'm streaming it, chilling with chat, making videos casually, so you know, it makes it pretty fine. It's not that bad, but for a lot of people who have dedicated time, hey, thanks for the Prime sub. This is Waitfinder, exactly. Waitfinder is we are waiting to find the way. So that's the fun of everything right now. We're just waiting to play the game, and that is a lot of the early access. So I would say probably not the best idea to buy the early access if you want to really play a game. It is important to remember that early access is essentially just paid beta, and Wayfinder is making sure that they use that to their full extent. They're like, oh guys, this is an early access. Remember, this is an early access. This is essentially a paid beta. So yeah, it is the paid beta-iest of betas because people can't even play 90% of the time. So important to remember, but of course, it really does suck, right? Yeah, appreciate it, everybody. It really does suck. So that's what we're having. But that's the review of the general login queue. I would not buy Wayfinder if you are planning on playing it anytime soon. Give it a week or two, then see if people are able to get into the game, because oh, the hours of long queue, the servers going up and down. I've gotten 4 or 5 hours of gameplay in so far, and that's about it, right? I'll have actual gameplay in the background at least, and you can see what it's like, and you can of course form your own opinion from that, but my god, is it hard to get in game right now. So take a look at Wayfinder in a couple of weeks. I wouldn't buy it yet. If you plan on playing it no matter what, then obviously it doesn't matter and you can buy it. But if you're expecting to get in instantly and have a fully playable, non-buggy game, that's not happening. This is definitely the earliest of early accesses, with the game not being super playable and the queue being the biggest and the servers being unstable for 3 days, right? It's just like, wow. The servers were stable day 3 to 4, I should say, but the server queue is so bad and the server cap is so low that it's like you're waiting hours upon hours to get in. You might end up getting kicked from a bug. You might end up getting hit out from like a connection issue. So again, it's probably not worth it if you want to play the game right now. It'll probably be worth it down the road when the game's more functional. I plan on playing no matter what, so I bought the most expensive pack because, like, I mean, I create content and I was just going to do it anyways, and I'm not going to miss out on Excalibur Prime again, okay? Queues are getting better, speeds are going better, but it's only day 4. At least it's now playable for more people, so we're getting there, but it is kind of terrible right now, so that's that. But once you get into game, it plays like a pretty standard MMO type RPG, right? You choose 1 out of 3 starting characters. If you spent more money, you get more characters like Heroic Kairos or Venomous instantly, right? So you go in, you choose your characters, then you start leveling up your character, doing your quest. You go into dungeons called Lost Zones, and there are 2 types of Lost Zones, essentially, I would say. There are the more exploration-based Lost Zones, which you run around, fight enemies, explore, grab chests and loot, so you get more gold. And then there are the boss-type Lost Zones, where it's like, oh, you go into the Lost Zone, and you're just fighting a boss. So you have that boss encounter, you're doing it, okay? Game has up to 3 right now players in multiplayer at any time. It has matchmaking. I have tried not to use much matchmaking, and I've turned off crossplay because I'm terrified it's going to break the game. The one game I did do with matchmaking, it worked fine, so that was nice, but I still don't have crossplay on. The game has friend codes and friend requests, but yeah, I don't know how well that's going to work, but in due time, everyone can add me and like friend request me, and I'll throw my friend code up here and there on like my Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that. So it does have that. It has player housing, and it has at least proper friends, at least, right? Through the friend code. So at least it has that, right? It'll eventually have more, but we're just reviewing the base early access and talking about that. You level up your Wayfinder weapons, you give them mods, aka echoes. They're called echoes in this game, but they're reminiscent of mods for Warframe, if you know what that is, right? Okay. You equip those onto your character and weapons, and they give you stat boosts, right? And you have on your character and weapons, a maximum number of stats you can apply and etc. There is a limit, so you have a max capacity. You can't just equip the strongest of echoes, right? It plays like a pretty general RPG. It just has your equipment system, your artifact system, your enhancement systems, your leveling up systems for Wayfinders and weapons, right? It has a ton of leveling systems now that I think about it, right? It has your weapons, your Wayfinders, the echoes that you equipped onto your weapons and Wayfinders, the artifacts or like trinkets that you equipped onto yourself, right? In-player housing artifact, buff stuff. You have, eventually there'll be just bigger strength boosts and awakenings, but the game is still really early access, so it's more of a base model right now. There's about 20 weapons and 6 Wayfinders you can get, 7 if you pay for Heroic Kairos, who is only ever available during early access for purchase, the same as Excalibur Prime for Warframe. So yeah, the game has a lot of general leveling systems for now that work in tandem all at once. So I mean, when you're leveling your Wayfinder, you're leveling everything else if you're playing the game. So far it works pretty good, but it's going to be a pretty long grind, very similar to Warframe because they're similar in systems that the game has. The gameplay is different, but systematically it has a lot of the similar things. Mods, echoes, leveling, account levels. There's gonna be like friggin' armory levels. So we'll have to wait and see, but for now the early access is do quests, level up, run around, fight enemies, do main or side quests, right? And level up all your loot. Later on, it'll matter more. You're getting currently loot off of enemies and bosses that you can't use yet, so the game is still very much early access, right? Like, definitely gonna stress that hardcore. So many people don't know what early access is on Steam and can't figure out that it's like a very much paid beta, right? It's a paid unfinished as can be beta. So yeah, it sucks that Airship Syndicate Digital Extremes, everyone over at that side didn't account for how popular the game would be, because the game is at concurrent day 4, the highest amount so far, 24,500 people on SteamDB, and it might only be rising, right? Because stability is slowly getting better, which means more people are trying to get into the game, which is also killing the game a little bit because of how woefully unprepared they were server-wise and like connection-wise. obviously, outside looking in, who knows what's going on? It's just like, obviously, was not ready, right? Clearly. But that is the current situation. Game's fun. You level up, you fight enemies, you fight bosses. I don't want to explain every single little thing. It has a ton of upgrade systems like Warframe. And you just play through it. We'll understand more as time goes on. I'll make more general beginner guides talking about the game, things you need to know, must-haves. We'll do it like probably a walkthrough of the important shops in the main city and just the systems of Wayfinder. But other than that, there's a lot of things. It's a new MMO light type of game, and there's many things to learn. So take a look in a handful of weeks if you want a more stable experience. But as of right now, the queues are hours, so I would say wait to buy the game, okay? If you're buying it now expecting to get in, you're gonna have a bad time. Wait if you want a stable experience. Buy it now if you're a video game addicted crack fiend who just can't help themselves, and you're willing to wait hours upon hours in queue. It took me, I think, an hour to get from 20 to 10,000, so I think the queue speeds are going faster at a rate of around 10,000 an hour, but it's still a little rough, right? It's still a little rough. I'm gonna be playing the game, I'm gonna be making videos on it, making them live on stream, chat's yelling at me, but you can't see that, right? We're gonna be doing that because why not? It's fun times. The game has a full map, you just teleport around, right? You can pretty easily teleport around, but it's still buggy, so sometimes the game's like, hey, you're in combat, hey, you're in combat. So that's fun. Still tons of bugs, and it's still earliest of accesses, so keep that in mind. I'll be playing it casually, making videos, along with breaking my sanity, but just remember that. So cheers, sub, like, and check out all of the social medias where I'm slowly going insane. Now that I'm a Twitter professional making 86 bucks off X/Twitter, I'm gonna go buy myself a Rolls Royce and crash it into the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you, and cheers.